Man, oh man, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt is really going off, you guys. In her first press briefing, which was jam-packed, by the way, she vowed to credential new media while taking swipes at traditional media outlets losing trust. Heck, I mean, could we even try getting credentialed ourselves, you know? Now, just imagine if we started doing our videos straight from the White House briefing room. Wouldn't that be crazy? Now, that would be the day. And real quick, guys, for those of you guys who don't know what happened, the video got taken down, so I had to re-upload it. So show your boy some love. Appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe, and we're going to go ahead and try again. But that's not all, guys. In the same press briefing, Leavitt also addressed the high cost of eggs that liberals are trying to pin on Trump. The press secretary was having none of that. Instead, she pointed out facts like how the Biden administration contributed to the supply shortage by directing the killing of over 100 million chickens. How many of you guys remember that nonsense? And speaking of controversial Democrats, we've also got to talk about Dalton super mayor Tiffany Henyard, except she's not being called super anymore. In fact, the scandal-plagued mayor of Dalton, Illinois, was seen on video jumping into what can only be described as a chaotic brawl that broke out between her boyfriend and an activist who called her the B word during the heated board meeting, and she ended up getting her wig pulled out. It's also not just her, guys. Fellow controversial Democrat Bob Menendez, former senator of New Jersey, was just sentenced to 11 years in prison after his trial for what the judge called a long-running bribery and foreign influence scheme of rare gravity. But both parties are making the news, you guys, for two very different reasons, though. Definitely stick around because you know that this is going to be a good run, starting with this one right here. But real quick, I just want to thank y'all so much for hitting the like button. Thank you for always sharing this video and for subscribing to the channel. I cannot thank you guys enough. You guys are amazing. So first, there's Trump's press secretary, Karoline Leavitt. Man, did she go off in her first ever press briefing for the Trump administration. Here, check this out.
Can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are. Christian Day Talk.
Thanks, Caroline. Just real quick, you mentioned the inflation executive order the president signed, but egg prices have skyrocketed since President Trump took office. So what specifically is he doing to lower those costs for Americans?
Really glad you brought this up, because there is a lot of reporting out there that is putting the onus on this White House for the increased cost of eggs. I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country. We also have seen the cost of everything, not just eggs. Bacon, groceries, gasoline have increased because of the inflationary policies of the last administration. As far as the egg shortage, what's also contributing to that is that the Biden administration in the Department of Agriculture directed the mass killing of more than 100 million chickens, which has led to a lack of chicken supply in this country, therefore a lack of egg supply, which is leading to the shortage. So I will leave you with this point. This is an example of why it's so incredibly important that the Senate moves swiftly to confirm all of President Trump's nominees, including his nominee for the United States Department of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, who is already speaking with Kevin Hassett, who's leading the economic team here at the White House, on how we can address the egg shortage in this country. As for costs, I laid out the plethora of ways that President Trump has addressed saving costs for the American people over the past week. He looks forward to continuing to doing that in the days ahead. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon.
Now, I got to say, guys, after 4 long years of Karine Jean-Pierre and Jen Psaki, seeing a competent U.S. press secretary is just so refreshing. Not to mention, she's pretty easy on the eyes. Let me know if you agree. And Karoline Leavitt definitely brought it, guys. You saw the room. It was jam-packed. She started things off by saying how the press has access to the most transparent and accessible president in American history. Now, true enough, guys, President Trump has held multiple news conferences just this past few days alone, gaggled on Air Force One multiple times, and sat down for a 2-part interview on Fox News. As Politico summed it up best, Trump is everywhere again. That's when Karoline Leavitt announced that the Trump White House will speak to all media outlets and personalities, not just the legacy media who were seated in that room. Because according to recent polling from Gallup, Americans' trust in mass media has fallen to a record low. Do any of you guys trust the mainstream media, especially mainstream liberal media? In practical terms, Leavitt said that they're welcoming independent journalists, podcasters, social media influencers, and content creators to apply for credentials to cover this White House. So what do you guys think about this? Like, should we really apply for a press pass? Exciting times. I got to say, I know, exciting times. Another point raised during the press briefing was the price on eggs. Now, you guys saw in the video, Karoline Leavitt did not shy away from the question. She head on addressed how there is a lot of reporting that this is putting the onus on the current administration for the rising cost of eggs. I mean, these people weren't even worried about the cost of living for 4 years, and now all of a sudden they're expecting Trump to have fixed it already in like, what, a week or so? I mean, you got to be kidding me, guys. As Karoline Leavitt pointed out, in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office or upstairs in the residence sleeping, egg prices increased 65% in the country. They didn't want to talk about this then. Overall, according to the press secretary, the costs of bacon, groceries, and gasoline have increased because of this inflationary policy that the Biden administration just kept pushing out. Plus, there's this HPAI going around, the highly pathogenic avian influenza. According to the Department of Agriculture, this new strain of bird flu was either directly or indirectly responsible for killing more than 20 million egg-laying hens in the first quarter of 2024. Meaning, like, we could even see the average price of a dozen eggs somewhere around $5 by the end of 2025, which would be the highest average price for a dozen eggs ever recorded. In California, we're already seeing eggs at nearly $9 per dozen in some areas. So really, the egg industry shortage has driven egg prices to increase by 28% year over year in just the first 13 days of January. Stores are even limiting the number of eggs customers can purchase during a shortage. So yeah, this is definitely a problem that Trump inherited, and blaming the president for the price of eggs right now, especially when he's barely in his second week, is just so disingenuous to people. You know what I mean, guys? But hey, I wouldn't be surprised if the president comes up with a solution for this anyway, like super fast, right? Am I right? Drop a quick yes in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you guys agree with what I'm talking about here. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tap the notification bell for more updates like this sent straight to your devices. Now, we're probably about halfway through, but real quick question for you guys. Do you guys normally watch the show from your phone, from your TV, or from your tablet or laptop? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm just curious, guys. But here's a clip of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard throwing herself into a brawl during a town board meeting. Watch this.
Mayor, but if you wanted to get up here and earn some respect, then you should have been able to respond to Lori Lightfoot's report about credit cards. You want to talk about them not coming to work, but we've been hearing about what you've been doing while you've been at work, and I'm going to give away the rest of my time because I think on behalf of the Black Cookout Association that we would better take a vote, that we're going to exchange your black for Stephanie to be the new member of our. So all those in favor say aye. All those against it say nay. All those in favor say aye. And I'm going to give away the rest of my time because I think on behalf of the Black Cookout Association that we would better take a vote, that we're going to exchange your black for Stephanie to be the new member of our. So all those in favor say aye. All those against it say nay. All those in favor say aye. 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 Woo-hoo. Woo. 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 What? Leave him alone.
Security guard. Who is mouth bleeding? What's up? What's up? Come up. Come up. What's up? Where's your father? Oh my God! Oh my God! Where's Jedediah? They don't want none. They don't want none. Shut the up, William. Oh, he got a chair? Wow. This man picking up a chair as a weapon? Wow. You need to go. You're the one trying to fight.
Busted with a capital B, right? It all started when an activist called her a B during the very heated board meeting. The man who said it was an activist, Jedediah Brown. I probably ruined his name, but that's the best I can do. Now, what we didn't quite catch was the clip before that when Brown referenced the findings of former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot's investigation into Tiffany Henyard. So the meeting was already pretty tense as the board voted to place Woods and another man, William Moore, on leave without pay and hire auditors to investigate their management of the township's at-risk youth program. To quote Brown, "You've been a half-ass mayor, but if you wanted to get up here and earn some respect, then you should have been able to respond to Lori Lightfoot's report about credit cards. You want to talk about them not coming to work? But then we've been hearing what you've been doing while you've been at work." And he pretty much added with, "You gone, B." Yeah, that's when the chaos broke out, guys. Brown and Tiffany Henyard's boyfriend, Kamal Woods, threw punches at one another, and Henyard quickly ran over to join the fight. Now, what kind of woman joins a fight like that, right? I guess the hood just came out of her. Now, as one witness put it, they have never seen a politician jump in and fight like that. It was scary and horrible. It is an embarrassment. Another witness agreed, saying that it should never have come to blows, and Tiffany should have never gotten involved. Now, if you've been watching our videos, guys, you would know that this is just the latest in a whole saga about Tiffany Henyard's corruption in Dalton and Thornton Township. Tiffany Henyard is also the supervisor of Thornton Township in South Chicago, but she recently lost a Democratic primary for the role to Illinois State Senator Napoleon Harris, who will advance to the April general election with party support. Former Mayor Lori Lightfoot, in her investigation into Tiffany Henyard, found that the Dalton mayor and her administration engaged in a concerted, systemic effort since at least 2021 to hide the true financial condition of the village of Dalton from the trustees and from the members of the public. How many of you guys think that this woman should be behind bars for this act? They revealed that the village of Dalton have received some $3 million in payments from the American Rescue Plan, hundreds of thousands of dollars which went missing without receipts. Wonder where that money ended up. Plus, the city's credit card spending also spiked to $779,000 in 2023 with little to no tracking. They even found that the city credit cards were being used to pay for a large trip to Las Vegas in both 2022 and 2023. Yeah, looks like Tiffany Henyard's been living it up and people are tired of it and they're finally doing something about it. Much like what happened with disgraced former Senator Bob Menendez. So the man was just sentenced to 11 years in prison and apparently he's been crying over being called Gold Bar Bob. Here, watch this.
How do you feel, Mr. Menendez?
Former Senator Bob Menendez was sentenced to 11 years in prison for what prosecutors say was a scheme to enrich himself with cash and gold bars and acting as an agent of a foreign country, Egypt. Now, Bob Menendez for years was the chairman of the powerful Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and prosecutors say in that role he betrayed the trust of voters and the United States of America. At some point along the line, Judge Sidney Stein said he lost his way and went from a life of public service to personal enrichment. In court, Menendez was contrite. He said he was a chastened man, chastened by the indictment and his conviction and the embarrassment he says he suffered with the nickname Gold Bar Bob. But outside the courthouse, Menendez was outraged. Speaking to reporters in front of microphones and cameras, he called this a political prosecution. And he said that this federal court district, the Southern District of New York in Manhattan, is the Wild West of political prosecutions.
President Trump is right. This process is political and it's corrupted to the core. I hope President Trump cleans up the cesspool and restores the integrity to the system.
11 years in prison for the disgraced senator, the harshest ever handed down to a U.S. senator. Now, as Judge Stein put it, Menendez worked his way up to a senator to the chair of Foreign Relations Committee. He was successful, powerful, stood at the apex of our political system. All letters are proof. But somewhere along the way, he lost his way. His defense attorney also pointed out, despite his decades of service, he is now known more widely as Gold Bar Bob. But hey, if the golden shoe fits, right? Just look at the rap sheet. The senator was convicted in July 2024 on 16 counts of bribery, extortion, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. He's also the first U.S. senator in American history to be convicted of working as a foreign agent. As the prosecutor puts it, the defendants engaged for years in a corruption and foreign influence scheme of stunning brazenness, breadth, and duration, resulting in exceptionally grave abuses of power at the highest levels of legislative branch of the U.S. government. And you know how desperate Menendez is when he opted to plead for President Trump because he knows he's not going to get any mercy from his own party. He said that this process is political and it's corrupted to the core, and that he hopes President Trump cleans up the cesspool and restores integrity to the system. Seriously though, guys, it's just kind of hard to give any sympathy to this guy. I mean, he was accused of accepting gifts totaling more than $100,000 in gold bars as well as cash, all part of a years-long bribery scheme involving the governments of Egypt and Qatar. So really, like, what does this say about the Democratic Party that Menendez, not to mention Tiffany Henyard too, is a part of? You tell me, guys. Drop me a quick comment down below. Let's get the conversation started. We'll definitely pick this up again in a future video. Just say the word. Make sure you guys stay subscribed to the channel. Keep that notification bell turned on so you don't miss out on future updates. And speaking of, we got some more lined up for you guys. Just wait until the end of this video. You'll see some suggested videos popping up. I highly recommend you guys check those out. As always, big thanks for hitting the like button. Thank you so much for sharing this video and for subscribing. We'll see you guys next time.